Hey everybody, my name is Sue and I'm from Dog Almighty. I'm a dog trainer, and I thought that throughout the period of isolation I might share some videos with you to give you some ideas to work with your dogs at home. So today I'm going to start with an exercise that's called hand targeting, and here's my lovely assistant Sprocket. Sprocket is 2 years old, and he came to me via the Tasman Pound and has been living with me for the last 1.5 years or so. And he already knows how to hand target, but he could definitely do with some practice. So I'm going to give you an idea of how I'm going to get that started with him. So before we start any dog training exercise, we need to get prepared with our dog training treats. So today I have prepared some schmackos for Sprocket, and I have chopped them up into little bite-sized pieces for training. If you're doing lots of extra training with your dog during this period, it's really good to monitor what you're giving them, because it's not a bad idea to give your dog food and training at all, but maybe you should give a little bit less in their food bowl so that you don't make them overweight by giving them too much food. So it's no problem with giving them food and training, just need to give them a little bit less in their bowl. And what you actually use depends on your dog. Lots of people will be able to use their regular dry food if that's what you feed your dog for your dog training. That's probably the most healthiest thing. This is just a low value dog training treat that Sprocket loves, so that's what I'm going to use today. Okay, so why do we teach dogs to hand target? Hand targeting, and this is what it looks like. Hey Sprocket, touch. Yes, good boy. So I put my hand out, I say touch, and Sprocket puts his nose on my hand. Sprocket, touch. Yes, good boy. Awesome. So why do we do this? Well, hand targeting is just a fun exercise to do all on its own. When your dog is really good at it, we can move them around to touch moving targets. Sprocket, touch. Oh, try again. Touch. Yes, good boy. And touch. Yes, good boy. So it can just be a fun game that we play with them, but it's also a really good setup exercise for lots of different things. I'm going to be making some videos about beginners sniffer dog exercises, some homemade agility videos, and some tricks training. And hand targeting is a foundation exercise for all of that kind of work. So hopefully you can get working on some hand targets if you haven't done so already, and that will prepare you for taking part in those activities a little bit later on. So how do we teach a dog to hand target? The first step is I want to take a bunch of training treats in one hand with my other hand free to work. Okay, I call my dog over. Come here, Sprocket. I'm gonna go side on so you can see. Sit. Good boy. Now I want to put my hand out, and I don't say anything in the early days, I just show him the hand. I want it to be about 3 inches in front of his face. Yes, good boy. If your dog doesn't actually touch your hand with their nose in the beginning, that's fine. If they just move towards it or look at it, you can still say yes and reward so that they know that they're getting closer to what it is that you're looking for. So keeping it consistent like that, doing repetitions, maybe 4 or 5 repetitions. Yes. So I don't say the command yet, I'm just teaching him to touch the hand. Oh, try again. Yes. Good boy. Yes. Yes. Clever boy, Sprocket. Hello, boy. Well done. Okay, so that's step 1, which is teaching your dog to literally push their nose against your open hand. And it's a good idea to repeat that a bunch of times without making it too different, so your dog really starts to learn that very basic exercise. Come here, Sprock. A couple of more tips for this first step, which is literally putting your hand in front of your dog's face. Yes, they move forward to touch it, and we reward them. So it's important to not leave your hand out here all of the time while you're rewarding your dog. Remember, this is your command, so you want to take it away. I want to ask him to do it, yes, and then I take it away and reward him with that hand, or you could reward him with the same hand, but it's important to not have your hand lingering there. Also important is if your dog doesn't go to touch your hand, to not follow them with the hand, because that will tend to move their head away from a hand that's moving towards them like that. So if they don't do it, you can just simply take it away and represent it. And sometimes for doggies who are struggling to touch the hand, I might just put it next to their head instead of front like that. So when they put it next to their head and they go, what? And they touch, so you can say yes and reward, and you can get the exercise started like that. Another thing to remember in this first step is if you've taught your dog to shake paws and you put your hand out like this for your dog to shake paw, of course what we're doing here is very, very similar, and your dog might get confused. So if your dog is used to shaking paws and you're putting your hand out like this and they're getting confused, it'd be good for you to do some fist targeting instead of hand targeting, so that the exercise looks different for your dog and they're not getting confused between shaking the paw and touching their nose to your hand. So you use the one that's working for you and your dog. For Sprocket and I, it's that open hand. Sprocky, come here, buddy. Attaboy. So after a bunch of repetitions, yes, of doing it at this easy level, I might start to move my hand around just ever so slightly, but I don't want to put it so far away that he really has to walk anywhere to get it. Just turn his head like this. Yes, good boy. Or over this side. Yes, clever boy. You'll see how I'm consistently working with my right hand. I'm getting him to touch my right hand. It's a good idea to stay with one hand until your dog has the hang of it. And then of course, when they're really good at one hand, we can swap over and have them touching or practicing doing it with your other hand. Yes, clever boy. Yes, clever boy. So when you get it to the stage that Sprocket is at, where I present my hand and he touches it, you can start to use your verbal command if you want. I like using the word touch as my verbal command, but there's no rush for that. Really, just putting your hand out is a command for your dog to do something. So you don't need to start adding the verbal command until down the line a little bit, until you've had a little bit of practice. And then another place you can go with this exercise to make it a little bit more difficult when you've got the basics down is to do multiple touches for one treat. Sprocky, what's this? Touch, touch, yes. See how I only say the yes word when he has finished all of the touches that I want him to do? You could work up to doing multiple touches, up to 10 touches for one treat at the end. Just don't be greedy in the beginning and stick with one touch for one treat until your dog is really good at it, and then you can gradually build the amount of touches that you want to do. And then, like I explained earlier, you can also move your dog through space using your hand. Sprocket, touch. Yes, good boy. Sprocket, touch. Yes. It's actually a fun game for kids to play. It's almost like tag. They can run around and say touch and see if their dog can come and touch, nose target their hand. So hope you have fun with this exercise. Like I explained earlier, it's a foundation step, a foundation exercise for lots of other cool stuff. Tricks training, homemade agility that we're going to be doing, and the beginner sniffer dog stuff. It's also quite a practical exercise to do just with pet dogs. It's a wonderful exercise that when practiced you can use in public to keep your dog focused on you if they're in the habit of getting distracted by things. It's also a really nice exercise to finish off your recall. Lots of clients tell me that their dogs are really good at coming to them, but that they don't want to actually come over because they're afraid of being caught, for example. So having a hand target, which is a fun game, is a nice way to encourage your dog to just close the gap at the end if you're struggling with your recall practice. So that's hand targeting. I'm also going to post a written training plan along with this video so that you can read through the steps at your own leisure, and most importantly, have fun with your dogs. Lots more information about Dog Almighty on my website, www.dogalmighty.co.nz. See you next time.